Oh, how's it? Today's episode is brought to you by cold and flu remedy because I've got a bit of a cold. Unlike my breathing today, composition in your photography really should feel as effortless as breathing. I found that the best photographs that I take are the ones that I've taken where I haven't really given composition any actual thought. I had to learn these things. I had to go through a process of getting to a point where that felt natural, that I could rely on my instinct, that I could sort of feel, okay, that feels right. And importantly, if it doesn't feel right, how to actually kind of fix it. I headed down to Felixstowe with my son. So grab your bucket and spade and let's go and see what happened down at the beach. Of course, I've come in out of the wind a bit here because it's a bit blustery outside, and I always sort of felt that good composition should be invisible, right? So this place here, they built all these lovely beach huts and whatnot, and the sea's just over there, but none of the beach huts face the sea. So a bit stupid there. It's almost like the sea's been invisible. Now this kind of place is ripe for really kind of cool photographs because everything just seems like it's been picked out of a textbook of how to compose photographs. But I feel that if I walk around and just kind of go, oh look, leading lines, rules of thirds, repetitive patterns, things of that nature, the photos just become mechanical. And I don't want mechanical photographs. I want photographs that make you feel something without me as the photographer having to like hammer it home and be blatantly obvious about it. This kind of lovely little line and things like that, that's kind of cool, right? It's a cool photograph. It's a nice sort of sweeping curve, all the colors and stuff like that. But am I going to take this picture simply because of this curve or because this curve makes me feel a certain way? I don't know. The photograph is too obvious. It's like a filmmaker is putting annotations on the screen and pointing at things, saying, look at what I've done, look at what I've made, to make you feel a certain way. I think, what I've got is just, it's a seashore village. Just gonna, it's just on a rule of thirds, and it's like I'm not really thinking about it. I'm just kind of going, oh look, what a rule of thirds. Look, I'm going to put this on a rule of thirds. Boom, boom, boom. I've got these wonderful leading lines of things. I'm just going to photograph the leading lines and just kind of go like that. Now, the thing with that is that that's very mechanical. It's very just taking pictures of a compositional element. It doesn't make the picture any good. It doesn't make it interesting. You need to go beyond this. You need to get in touch with the dreariness of the day. Right? When we get started with photography, we kind of learn a couple of words and things like that nature. And then that's all you think about. Like a photograph. So you come to a place like this and you go, wow, I could do rule of thirds, I could do this, I could do that. And thinking that just because you've done those things makes a cool picture. I used to think this way. Like, oh, look how clever I am. I can do things and show off, arrangements to show off what I know about compositional. But it completely misses the point of why I'm taking photographs, which is this is mid-December. It's like about a week before Christmas. I'm down at the seaside. This place is supposed to be full of, people on towels enjoying the sea and stuff like that. But instead it's grey, it's windy. Behind me, the waves are kind of lapping. And I want to give that sort of feeling. And if I'm going to rely on composition to do that, then I need to think about this. How can I use composition invisibly to help you feel a certain way. And for me, I think that comes down to photographing things center point. This feels like a place in limbo right now. And so everything is very static. It has no energy, it has no impetus. So if I photograph everything with a central perspective, then hopefully that composition of doing that center interest will bring that through. And I've got a really good example. I think we're going to go look at it. Brave the Elements down by the sea. Now at this point, there's a lot of feeling going on that it's kind of like intuition. It is something that comes from within. And if you're looking to kind of get in touch with your own authentic vision, to find your style, to really kind of kick off 2025 photographically with a bang, then on the 4th of January, I am doing a live workshop where we are going to take a deep dive into the course I put together a little while ago called the Authentic Vision Framework. Now, this is designed to help you find your unique style that is actually hiding in front of you, and then more importantly, how to actually put it into practice. Then there's a link in the description box below. Oh, here we go. So we're down a bit. Anyway, I hope that the wind isn't too much on this. So we kind of go like anyway. Now, composition is all about feeling. I take a picture and I sort of go, oh, that sort of feels right. And how have I learned to trust my gut and realize that it's actually a good photograph, rather than that I've had a dodgy curry or something. And I'm going to use this pig and thing. I don't know what you call it. It's like a little marker thing to the sea defences, because there's a number of ways we could actually photograph this, and I'm going to photograph them in those number of ways to see which one feels right for me, which one evokes the mood that is going to be in keeping with what I'm feeling right now. That's interesting, that, because I photographed it 3 ways, and the 2 on the outside going from side to side, they kind of feel all right. Things are on a rule of third and what have you. So technically you might say they're correct, but they don't make me feel anything. Hold it still, darling. 2 hands. All right. So the one where I photograph in the middle, in the center point, I suppose this is kind of like I've sort of said already, but there's no surprise. That makes me feel the way that I feel right there. It's stable, center. It just is. And it's a weird thing to say, because I don't know if I can explain it better than that. The photograph just is. Maybe that's enough. But how do I get the experience? Where does that experience come from? Oh, there we go. So we're inside now, away from the wind, which I think probably contributed to all of this murky, the dreaded lurgy. Anyway, we are talking about, composition as breathing, just like this natural kind of thing. And I left a bit of a cliffhanger at the end there, talking about how do you know? How do I know when something feels right? And the word vibe does an awful lot of heavy lifting in these conversations, and it could be frustrating. It can be very frustrating for somebody who's just getting started in photography, because when you're looking for feedback, the person goes, this doesn't feel right, and it's like, well, that's no good. So let's look at some of the pictures that we got yesterday. We're talking about feeling. And the greatest feeling that I had yesterday was a sense of inertia. That Felixstowe is a town that is a summer town. The winter in British seaside is not exciting. It feels like it wants to be summertime. So that's the feeling of the environment. So everything that I photographed yesterday was very straight down the line. So I used a great
amount of a rule of thirds idea. Now, rule of thirds, I talked about it in yesterday when I was down at the seafront, where it's kind of like, it just feels like it's a mechanical process and stuff, and that's not the case at all. These compositional elements are useful when we apply them naturally, not go looking for them. So here I've got Arnie's. Arnie's little beach hut, straight in the middle, everything's dead center. There's nothing in here that really feels energetic. Just a little seagull in the back, right? There's nothing there. It's closed up for the winter. And it's a similar thing with these beach huts. Now, this, I'm going to props to James Pops, because I watched his thing the other day about the Welsh Valley, and he was waiting for somebody to walk across the thing, and I was looking at this, and there was these guys, and I went, James, thank you for that idea. So I could just blatantly copy things. This also doesn't really have much of an energy about it. I think also the fact that there's no doors facing this way. I did say that most of them face inwards. These are the few that actually face the seaside, and these are another £15,000 each, on top of the £25,000. So anyway, we're going to discuss the microeconomics of beach hut. And this one, I kind of throw everything out. It's like I'm talking about staticness, and this one doesn't feel right for the vibe of the images that I'm trying to create, of getting a sense of a town that is in limbo. This doesn't feel right because it has energy, because it has diagonal lines that run from the yellow one down to the blue and they through. That has some oomph to it. Whereas if we go and look at another photograph, like here later on, I found some really kind of cool beach hut hidey things. Shelters is the word, right? This is a little bit more in keeping with the vibe. The town is quiet, grey, static, stayed in the middle. Nothing too funky about this. The perspective is straight from my eye line. This I'm not so keen on. Probably again because of those angles, because of moving. Things are moving in the frame. Even though there's nothing actually physically moving, there's movement in the frame. Now, I mentioned earlier about finding compositions that you feel like you've gone and looked for, like compositional elements to then build a picture around. And when I was out there photographing the beach huts, I took some pictures of this. So this is the seashore village side. Now, when I was a younger photographer back in 19 or something, I probably would have said, this is a really kind of cool picture because look at this interesting fish and how it looms over the buildings and it's on a rule of thirds and it's this and blah, 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 right? But it doesn't make it a cool picture. You could see when I was photographing it, it is literally, oh, look, there's a thing, boom, go and take the picture. And it was the same for this one. Then I sit there and I go, oh, look, there's a bollard with some green and some blue. Put it on a third. Jobs are good. Done. Right? It's not a great photograph. It's just simply an illustration of a compositional element. And the same goes for this. I'm a little bit more keen on this one, but none of these three images do anything to get that mood, to get that feeling. Yes, they feel technically correct, but they don't feel right. They don't feel right for the environment. And we're going to look at this point in a little bit deeper, because I think this is like super important that we need to take into account here. So there's, down on the beach side, there's this pyramidal thing on a post. Must be some sort of marker for ships or something. And I looked at it and you go, now this is one of the things where I have just contrived to make the photograph sort of conform to some, some compositional elements. Maybe not super successfully, but there we go. We can crop it in a little bit and boom, there we go. Oh, look, it's on a third. What a kind of a cool picture now, because it's just on a third. And, look at that, the desolation with the sea and the worriness and the coldness and stuff. But it doesn't feel right for me. It doesn't feel like this is in keeping with the environment that I'm in, that feeling, that mood that I've got. And it's the same with this. Now, if I were doing seascapes or something different, then possibly, this would be a good starting point to change the photograph. But I want images that feel natural, that feel like I'm giving you a mood without it being an obvious thing. Now I'm going to do something here by making it completely obvious. This image here, this center composition, you see I keep coming back to the center composition because it has that staticness. I really like this. I think this is by far the strongest photograph. And I shot this because it felt natural. And I'm sorry that it's difficult to kind of just, put that more into words. But the more that you just think about the scenes that you see in front of you and how it feels natural to you, and I can't stress that enough, that it has to feel natural to you, the more you'll start to train your eyes. And of course you get some feedback along the way and people help you and whatnot. But before you know it, then you're kind of out there saying, okay, does this feel kind of cool? Or does this picture feel a lot better? Does this feel better with the mood that we're going for? It's that static middle idea again. It's very easy to put this into practice. And I've got an example here that I was shooting on the way back to the car. I thought, oh, this is kind of a cool thing. So I saw this little sign down a side road, and I took a picture of it. And initially, I kind of went, oh, that's kind of, it's nice. It fits the mood of the place. And then I look at it and I go, okay, what's wrong with this picture? What is wrong? What's in this picture that is not contributing to this feeling? Can you guess what it is? Right? And then how can I fix it? Simply go down. So I squatted down and I changed my perspective. So the building behind it, see that building? Disappears. It gets sucked into the things. It's there. So you have now more of this open space, of this feeling like things are kind of closed in. And if you want to go really deeper into it, you can sort of sit there and go, now, the block of flats is now caged in and stuff like that. But this draws that attention to what it was that I'm thinking. And this felt normal. I looked at the picture before and I went, does this feel right? Yeah, maybe not. What can I do to fix it? And that's where we're talking about that breathing, that feeling like it's just a natural thing. That when you're out there taking photographs, don't go looking for specific things that you can make as an illustration of a compositional point of view. Go out there, take photographs that interest you, that have the mood of the place that you're feeling, and then find ways of controlling the elements inside the frame using composition so it feels natural. It feels natural to you, then it will feel natural to the viewer, which means when it's natural to the viewer, they're less aware of it and they're more open to the mood and the feeling that you are conveying to them silently but powerfully. If that's got you goat up, if you want some more of that kind of stuff, go downstairs, click on the link for the Authentic Vision Framework live course on the 4th of January. I'll be also going to go into a whole bunch of this kind of stuff, how to really kick into that vibe, that feeling inside you that is you naturally. And in the meantime, if you want to check out more about composition, then check this video here. Thank you ever so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope this cold goes away very soon. And if you don't see you before Christmas, have an awesome Christmas and a wonderful new year.